Hi,
Hey,
Angela. How are you?
hey, I'm so glad we're getting ready to talk about BQH.
I
Uh,
know
I'm
it's
super excited.
amazing. I'm so happy that we can share this in a life design community. It's been
hmm
such an eye opener for me to be involved in it, and so I'm excited that we're going to share something about it today.
Well, why
Thank
don't we start with just talking about what it is? Because BQH sounds mysterious.
Yeah, I
What
know.
is it?
Well, when you use the initials, you're like, do I need to know what BQH stands for? Yeah. Well, it stands for Beyond Quantum Healing. And that's why, because those words are long, BQH is sort of the nice shorthand. But it's the next generation hypnosis technique, and it was created by Candace Craw-Goldman in 2015, so about 10 years ago. She originally trained with the godmother of all of this kind of hypnosis, Dolores Cannon. And she was a right-hand person for Dolores Cannon in the technique called QHHT, which is quantum healing hypnosis technique. That was the very first major technique that was shared.
Yeah.
And Dolores passed away in 2014. And Candace thought, well, I guess I'll step out and do my own thing. And so she designed BQH. The primary difference is QHHT required you to be face to face with the person you were helping because that's how Dolores learned to do it. And BQH is a little more modern using video meetings. So it can be done in person or done over video. And that's opened up the whole, way for people to work with people around the world. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so BQH is a kind of hypnosis. And it sprung from QHHT that was designed by Dolores Cannon.
Cool. And what made you decide to go and do this, get certified in how to do this?
I've known you a long time, so you were there when this was happening.
It was
But
amazing. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I was ordained in a spiritual practice that allowed me to teach Paramahansa Yogananda's techniques for Kriya Yoga, meditation, yoga philosophy, and I was trained in that at 18. And so for many years, I've been involved in metaphysics and sort of new age, new thought Christianity. And with all the personal development and evolution I've done for myself and with clients, there were still some stubborn spots that I had trouble removing, releasing, healing from. And I was looking for, well, I've kind of got to the bottom of my bag of tricks, is there something else out there? And I'd seen some videos on YouTube about this BQH practice, and I thought, I liked a couple of practitioners that I saw, and so I signed up with one QHHT person who was a veteran, and I went to see her directly here in Austin because they only work in person. And then I worked with a BQH person who was in North Carolina, also a veteran practitioner. And between them, I made so much progress. I learned so much. It was just what I needed to kind
Mhm.
of complete a couple of areas that were being stubborn for me. So I asked each of them after my individual sessions, do you think I could do this? Because I already have a sort of business and personal coaching practice, been teaching meditation for decades, and both of them gave me a resounding yes. Yes, you should learn this. Yes, you should be doing this. So I took the BQH training because it seemed to fit in with the Zoom client sessions I already do.
Mhm.
And yeah, so on their advice and after my results, I took the BQH training and started working with clients.
How do you decide if this is the right thing to do with a client? Because I know you have a lot of different modalities that you work with when you're coaching.
Yeah.
You do executive coaching, spiritual coaching,
Mm.
the wide range of that. And so how do you decide this is the right
Yeah,
modality?
there is a methodology that's taught within BQH, and so together with just regular coaching readiness conversation in a discovery call is how we speak about it in coaching. There's a BQH discovery call to talk about, is this a process that would be useful for you? So sometimes it's someone in the same situation I was in where, I stubbornly have this trauma I've not resolved, or I have this particular thing, and the things I know how to do haven't shifted it. And so I maybe this would shift it. So
Yeah.
sometimes it's we're down to the bottom of the bag of tricks and I need something new, which is where I was. Other times it's people that have no background at all. They're have a faith process that didn't include metaphysics or yoga or meditation or mindfulness or energy work, but they're open-minded and sincerely looking for maybe this is, what I need. Certainly with Dolores Cannon, she taught her technique as this is a hypnosis technique. So it wasn't faith-based at all. It was, this is just a modality, and let's see if we can help you lose weight or stop smoking or whatever it is. And it grew into something more, but really it's just technique based. So yeah, people fall into usually one of those two categories, and we have a conversation for half an hour. We talk about how the process works. People that have trouble visualizing things in their mind can have trouble having hypnosis work for them, not always. So there's some ways we can kind of check in to see if it's a fit.
Yeah,
I'd
that
say
makes
80% of the time in those discovery sessions, BQH is a fit, but
mhm.
it's worth exploring one-on-one about whether or not this is a fit for someone.
Nice. Well, I know in this video series, there's a few snippets of sessions that you've
Yeah.
had with various clients, and it runs the gamut. I mean, it is an amazing wide array of experiences that people have had with you in BQH. So, what do you think clients learn the most? I mean, what are generally the biggest kind of takeaways they get from this?
There's two answers to that. I appreciate that question. The first answer is really that I'm a guide. I'm like the train conductor that goes down the train and takes the tickets. I'm not planning the train, shoveling coal in the train, driving the train. So I'm a guide that's kind of holding space in the session. The client's higher self, the client's inner wisdom, the client's spirit or soul, whatever their perception is, if they have a faith-based, perception, it is the client internally that drives, this is the thing we're going to work on in the session.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's a complete surprise to the client. It's not what brought them to me. It always is in their highest and best good. When
Mhm.
it's something completely different, they say, I didn't even know I needed that. And this is exactly the thing. And I'm bearing witness to it, not driving it.
Mhm.
The other thing to notice is, as you say, it runs the gamut of their experiences. As we share in these little bits of BQH experiences that have happened, sometimes it's somebody comes and they're looking for how to get unstuck about their career, and that's in fact what happens. Or they're trying to resolve childhood trauma, and that's in fact what happens. And so they're looking for a physical healing, and they're trying to understand why they stubbornly have not been able to complete a healing about something, and that's what happens. And so when I got the training in Candace's group, she said, you may not believe this, but the higher self of your client is fully in charge of how this goes, and you don't have to worry for a minute about it. And that's in fact what is true. We get the train pulling out of the station, and I'm just a happy conductor.
You get to
And
go along for the ride
yeah,
too.
yeah, their higher self is like, okay, let's get down to what's the most important for you. And you may or may not know what that is. But that's what we're going to work on right now. So
Right.
yeah,
So there could be
there's
something that you want to resolve, but it also could be just, I'm just totally curious. What does my higher self want to tell me?
exactly, there could be no major issue or there's trying to be resolved, but just an inquiry about the future, or it could
Mm.
be an inquiry, why was I born into this crazy family?
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
what is this about? Or you might find yourself longing for a loved one who has passed on, and you think, I'm grateful for their role in my life, and I want to understand more about why my grandmother was so important to me, or who knows what it may be. And so I'd say probably 60% of the time, what the client brings is what actually gets worked on. And
Yeah.
40% of the time is something completely different, that as our session is complete, and they're conscious of what's happening the entire time.
Yeah.
As the session is complete, they're like, this puzzle piece snapped in and I didn't even know it was missing.
Yeah.
And this is so great because I understand so much more. It was the right thing. They just hadn't put their finger on it before the session.
It sounds like at the core of it, what you're doing is you're helping them really get in touch with that deeper part of themselves that does have the answers, that does have the wisdom. And just day to day in the busy, crazy life we have, we just don't always we can't always access that very easily. So what you're doing is helping them get there. So
Well,
yeah,
introducing them to the fact that that inner wisdom actually exists.
yes,
And so, and they might want to explore meditation practices or other practices that help them access that on their own. Or
right.
they may say, love you, bye. Good to know. Thanks.
And
This
you
is
can help them too, because I know you do those things as well.
right.
So, because EFT and meditation and all that is just in your bag of tricks.
So for
So,
some people, it leads to more of a deeper inquiry in things. And for others, that was the solution I needed. Thanks. Thanks.
yeah.
Okay. See you next time if you need anything. So
Yeah, awesome. I'm unstuck. Thanks.
yeah,
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 that's
that's
great.
right. Okay,
So
I figured
how do
out my
people,
career path.
yeah, how do they move forward? If someone wants to get a session with you, what do they need to do
Yeah, I'll
next?
share in the final video a link to my Calendly,
Yeah,
and that will set them on my calendar for just a 30-minute, hey, let's explore BQH and is it right for me? And
excellent.
of course, that's free. And if it feels right, we move forward. And if it doesn't, we don't. And it's just whatever is in the highest and best interest of the client. So,
Well, I, for one, am excited that you're doing this. The world needs you doing this. So
yes.
thank you, Myrna. And I hope everybody takes advantage of these BQH
Well,
sessions.
thanks,
Thanks.
Angela. I'm so glad we're introducing it to the life design community.
Yes.